All right, a mock draft. I was done with mock drafts. I was saying, you know what? I've made plenty of mock drafts. Don't need another one. But then I decided, you know what? I like this idea. I'm going to make one more mock draft. There might still be more about to be uploaded because I might, upload these out of order from when I ordered them or from when I recorded them. Excuse me. But I just had an idea for this. I wanted to do it. This is going to be the all best player available mock draft. I thought it could be a fun exercise and just let's just see how it goes. So no more rambling. Let's just get into it. Obviously, as always, using the PFF mock draft simulator. I will be selecting for every team, of course. Let's just get into it. We won't be doing any trades because everyone's just drafting best player available. So first, and also one more thing I wanted to do here is listen, my opinion of best player available is very much not your opinion of best player available. So, and it's we all have different opinions, right? So, what I decided to do instead was I'll just use PFF's, order, just in a vacuum and just draft it and see how it goes. So, Hutchinson at 1, which is probably going to happen anyways. This would make Kyle Hamilton going number 2 to the Detroit Lions, which, my good buddy Luke G from Luke G's Field Review would be very happy about this. You know me, I'm not as high on Hamilton as others, and I think that would be kind of a weird scheme fit, quite frankly. But, they could use a safety. So it would make your team better. The question is just, would it be what makes your team the most better? This would then have Derek Stingley going to the Texans. I wouldn't hate this selection at all, quite frankly. I think that Texans going corner makes a lot of sense. They need a lot, right? So their needs are every position. So they're probably legit just going to go best player available anyways. But I think that's interesting. Also, this would mean Kayvon Thibodeau, who he could very much end up a Jet. That's not out of the question either. What I've noticed is that this isn't that crazy of a first 4, and it's actually not that crazy of a first 5 with Charles Cross going there. So Kayvon Thibodeau and Charles Cross would be interesting. The Giants need offensive line help, so that ends up filling both needs. And the Jets could use an edge rusher. They don't desperately need it, but you could argue if he's the best player available, it might make some sense, and I wouldn't hate it necessarily. The Panthers, who I'm convinced will go quarterback in the actual draft, but here they're going offensive lineman. Again, probably what they would do if they didn't go quarterback. So far, this might end up being more accurate than my prediction of what I thought would happen, kind of thing, with how this is going. The Giants will now double down on offensive linemen, which I don't think it's a crazy situation. I mean, if you just double down on offensive linemen, get 2 good players, and there is the school of thought of you shouldn't let your depth chart prevent you from getting a good player. And if that's the case, that might make some sense, right? And again, the logic behind it does make some sense. So, don't get a worse player just because of your depth chart. I do see some logic behind it, and it would help the Giants. I know that they have Andrew Thomas, but figure out maybe Evan Neal's a guard. I don't know. You can figure that out somehow. The Falcons here would get Trent McDuffie, which that would be fun. Him next to AJ Terrell. And then number 9, the Seahawks get Sauce Gardner, who see Sauce, maybe? No, that's not work. No, can't make that nickname work. But you could easily make Sauce Gardner work with that Seattle cover 3. He kind of is built for it. He doesn't have to be in that scheme. I think he could be in any scheme. But, if I had to pick one scheme where he would be best at, I might pick that scheme. So wouldn't hate that. And then the Jets. So this is where things get interesting because I don't think that they would ever do this, getting Carl Loftus with the number 10 overall pick, even though they drafted Thibodeau with the number 4 overall pick. They would be having a lot of good edge rushers now, so they certainly don't need edge help now. But again, is it something that I can see the logic behind of saying, listen, Carl Lawson, our number 3 edge rusher, we're going to have great edge rushers, which, I guess Carl Lawson's the established guy, so I'm not sure if Carl Loftus would win that job just yet, but it would be kind of fun. Number 11, the Washington football team, another team that might just go best player available anyways because they don't have any glaring weaknesses. Drake London would certainly help them out a lot. And then the Vikings getting Garrett Wilson would be fun. Hey, make it. Why not have an even better receiving core? I can see the logic behind that. And then the Texans getting Bernard Rainman. I guess what would happen here if this happened was this might be the end of for Tunsil, maybe you try to keep Howard at guard or whatever, but that would be interesting for sure. Number 14. So Trayvon Walker is next on the list. Again, don't love Trayvon Walker. Wouldn't hate him at 14, though, because there is still such great upside, and he would fit that scheme well. So that would be exciting. Number 15, the Eagles are going to get Devin Lloyd here. That would work. I mean, he would fit that scheme well. Devin Lloyd fits every scheme. He's a great linebacker. There's no scheme he doesn't fit, quite frankly. They could use a linebacker, I think. So that might be just what happens. Number 16, the Saints are very happy that their pick gets to be a wide receiver because Jameson Williams in that scheme, as a Buccaneers fan, please don't let that happen. Don't let Jameson Williams go through the Saints. I don't want that. That doesn't sound fun for me. And then, hey, Devontae Wyatt. Man, it's crazy how many of these picks work. I would have thought okay, there are going to be so many crazy picks. But out of all of these picks, what are the ones that just don't make any sense? Okay, Garrett Wilson going to the Vikings, that seems unlikely, but even that you can understand. You could say, you know what, let's just be awesome at passing. It's a passing league. You could at least make that argument. And I don't even think it'd be the dumbest move in the world if they did that, although certainly I doubt they will. The only one I really think won't happen is would make zero sense whatsoever. Plenty of these won't happen, but the one that would make no sense would be probably Karlaftis, just because you already have now. You don't need another edge rusher at all. I'm not sure if he'd play. That's, to me, that's the only real reason why I wouldn't just draft for need in a specific pick, is if I don't even think you would get on the field. As long as I think that player will be on the field, I'm fine with drafting, for best player available. And again, it varies depending on if you're trying to be competitive, maybe just do best player available, like we saw Tampa Bay do when they drafted Wirfs and Winfield and then won a Super Bowl. Although helped that those players both were probably the best player available on top of that. 18, so the Eagles going back to linebacker with Nakobe Dean. Again, kind of where would you do this? But hey, why not use two linebackers if you want to make that position better? It seems unlikely. That seems like another one that probably wouldn't work. And again, for the Saints now, drafting Tyler Linderbaum probably won't do that. They have McCoy already. They have Ruiz, who was drafted as a center. But I mean, hey, Linderbaum might be better than both of those guys, so you still might be getting an upgrade. 20, this would be wild, wouldn't it, if Jordan Davis went to the Pittsburgh Steelers? It's not like they need defensive line help, but that's kind of what makes this fun, is you kind of see, and kind of makes you think hey, maybe sometimes instead of drafting for need, you draft for to make something awesome. And that's what would happen with the Steelers if they got Jordan Davis. That would just, make the defensive line even more awesome. Why not? Okay, Patriots, works out for them. That best player available is Chris Olave. And I just saw this, and this is just hilarious, that if we're doing best player available, the Packers will get a quarterback in round one. I mean, that's just, how does that happen? How does that work out that way? That's just incredible. Fantastic stuff that happened. Oh man, that is good. 23, the Cardinals, hey, get some offensive line help. Trevor Penning, this would help them out. Wouldn't hate that for them. And the Cowboys getting David Ojabo, get some defensive line help. Wouldn't hate that for them by any means. Again, this is where we're going to get another one that just wouldn't happen. Malik Willis is not going to get drafted by the Buffalo Bills. If only the Titans picked one pick earlier, you could at least make an argument. I don't know why you would do this unless maybe you want to, get him in some snaps, make him look good, and then trade him away for even more capital later. I'm not sure if they're, sort of like house flipping or something. I don't know if that's what they're actually going to end up doing. Jermaine Johnson to the Titans. I'm sure Titans fans would be happy with that. He fills a need there. And Tampa Bay getting Andrew Booth Jr., who they don't need a corner by any means. But again, that's not what we're paying attention to here. Would he help that team? Yeah. And again, players do get injured. So that's why I think a lot of these picks work. It's just because depth in football matters. So that's why a good amount of these picks actually make some sense. 28, Lewis Cine is going to go here with the Green Bay Packers. Safety, which I've actually seen some mocks just have in general, so that makes some sense to me. And Kair Elam going to the Chiefs along with Jalen Petir. So working on that secondary that needs some help. Sure, that would actually fill a need. And also those are kind of the talented players that you would want there. 31, the Bengals getting Treylon Burks going back to the wide receiver. Well, again, what if someone gets hurt? That's how he would help you. He'd be your wide receiver 4 starting the year. So maybe, again, certainly if we're drafting for need, probably not what you would do. But again, I could see some logic. And then Zion Johnson at 32. to the Lions. That would help out their offensive line. They could use a guard, and that would maximize the talent that they get. So as a whole, it's an interesting thing. And kind of what I learned is that most of these picks actually ended up being pretty good. Like there's a few like, okay, this wouldn't happen, but basically what it's telling you is like, hey, draft best player available. That's not the worst strategy in the world. Don't worry about need as much. Maybe again, need plays a big role in certain of these picks, but like how many of these picks would you just say like absolutely makes no sense? And if your team made them, you'd be like, what are we doing? Carl Loftus was the first one I thought, and then I think you can go down and you could probably say I think you could throw in the Kobe Dean there. That would be two. Even Linderbaum, I don't know if I would throw that in there as like a complete makes zero sense type of move. Packers going quarterback again. I mean, why would the Packers go first round quarterback with Aaron Rodgers? That would never happen. So that would be number three, and then you have Malik Willis again. So that's four. And then if you want to go, Traylon Burks five. So only five out of these 32. You can maybe argue six with Linderbaum out of 32. So that's most of these picks. Legitimately, just picking best player available would still like help your team. So kind of an interesting view there, and just kind of a fun exercise. So that's what I thought about this. What did you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.